Carolyn Nichols, certified holistic nutritionist here at the Energy Shack to give you truths that you need to know about acid reflux, heartburn, other digestion issues that it can be named as well, Gerd, hiatus hernia. So although different issues in many ways, they are also very similar. And as a nutritionist, I treat them naturally almost in the same way. So there are a couple things that you need to know if you or somebody you know is struggling with this issue. So first of all, you can book a consultation. Please don't hesitate to call or email us because these issues are fixable. Yes, even a hiatus hernia, which is a physical damage within the body, you can still eat, live, digest, which can feel like normal. There's just a few changes that we have to make. Now, if you're experiencing a lot of acid reflux, which is that heartburn, so this burning near the chest, first of all, for sure there's some foods that you shouldn't be eating. For sure there's some things you should be consuming. So let's just talk about what's going on. Your hydrochloric acid, which is this super strong acid, wonderfully designed to digest the food inside your stomach. There is an esophageal sphincter there in the stomach. And that keeps the acid inside the stomach where it's supposed to be. But many times through a lot of stress, through poor eating, that sphincter can become damaged. It can become worn down, or for other reasons, the flap begins to open when it shouldn't. So the problem with that is the acid comes back up in the esophagus and you start to feel heartburn. Well, the problem isn't just that you're feeling heartburn, but the problem is that acid is not supposed to be there. Your esophagus is not designed for that acid. Your stomach lining is. So damage can also be caused on the esophagus. And if this is happening for many years, even months over time, that begins to wear that down. What is the problem? Well, of course, we have this peristalsis movement, a lot of muscle contraction happening in the esophagus to properly bring food down. Sphincter opens, food comes in. So this is a whole process here. And if it begins to get damaged from all of that hydrochloric acid, digestion is going to be compromised. And let me tell you, it doesn't get better as you get older. It will get worse. So we got to fix it right away. So a couple things I want you to note is, what are you eating? If you're having a lot of fried food in your diet, a lot of fatty food in your diet, this can all become a problem, especially if you're having spicy food. So hot peppers or hot pepper sauces, vinegar, anything caffeinated, including chocolate, can all create this digestion issue. Now, of course, if you can also think about other foods that you may be eating, any citrus foods or tomato-based foods, that can also create this burn, this acid reflux, this hydrochloric acid coming out, because these are all foods that create inflammation. When there's inflammation, that sphincter is just not going to work properly, and it can also create this effect where the acid begins to pour back up through the esophagus. Late night eating, even if it's healthy food, if you're eating later in the evening, metabolism is so much slower. It's really hard for the body to digest in the evening. So just taking an inventory of what am I eating? Am I having those fatty foods? Am I having spicy foods all the time? And it may not necessarily be the reason for the trouble, but in many cases it is. But if you have a lot of stress damage or other digestion issues, or if you're having ulcers, or any other kind of issues, diseases within the digestive system, this can be a secondary effect. So now that I've said this, what can we do? Well, we can definitely pull back on those foods, dropping the caffeine, get rid of the hot sauce, no more vinegar. Believe it or not, but lemon juice may or may not irritate it, so you have to play around with that. But you definitely want to decrease on your fatty fried foods. Definitely stay away from that hot sauce. It is a killer. No more vinegar, no more caffeine, and that should begin to put it at bay. But now we have to heal the lining of the esophagus. And how are we going to do that? Well, there's a couple things. Aloe Vera gel. You can get the inner fillet. It is extremely healing. If you've ever put that on a cut or on the surface of the skin, you can see how quickly it can heal a burn. It is incredible, and it's very inexpensive. If If you drink about 1/4 to 1/2 cup first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, that can really heal the lining of the esophagus to the point where it can also completely go away if you change your diet. If you're eating and drinking at the same time, you need to absolutely stop doing that, because if you eat and drink at the same time, you mess with those stomach acids, and that can also create that acidity effect coming back up. What else can you do? Well, it may not taste very well, but potato juice is extremely healing for the stomach gut. So if you juice some potato, and then if you juice about 1/2 cup, add about 1/2 cup of water, drink that in the morning about 15 minutes after your aloe, as well as the evening. That can really, really help. There are also a few other things you could do. So maybe you're making those changes, but acid reflux is not gone. There's this incredible remedy that you can take. You could do it immediately, and it brings the heartburn. It's like putting out the fire. So if you are having a heartburn attack, if it's slowed down, it should absolutely do that. If you're following these remedies, changing your diet, pulling back on those foods, and adding these remedies in, making sure too you're not snacking. Snacking interrupts that digestion process, and it can make that acid do all sorts of crazy things, especially come back up the esophagus. So you followed these suggestions, you've made some changes, but maybe you made a mistake, or maybe you had some French fries or something like that, and you're having an acid reflux attack. What can you do to put that fire out? It is so simple, and you probably have this in your cupboard, and it's really extremely effective. So I'm going to give you this remedy in 1 minute, but let me tell you first that if you're struggling with acid reflux, Gerd, or any other issue, please call me. I would be happy to set you up with a consultation with one of our nutritionists. And here is that amazing remedy.